Okay, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Jungle Talk, hosted by myself and Twinkle. Today we are joined by special guest Sebs, council member of CyberKongz. How are you doing?
Hey, yeah, good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, no problem at all. We normally start off with first ever hearing of crypto and then the journey to how you get to the position you're in. So I guess when you first heard of cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and then how you made it to Council of CyberKongz. So if you just want to elaborate on that journey for us.
Yo, that's a long story. I mean, yeah, sure. Let me think. I mean, obviously, you know, it'll start with Bitcoin pretty much. I think in 2013 was the first time I heard about Bitcoin. I left it then. I mean, I was really just a kid then. I left it till about 2016. Got back into crypto then. Then we had a massive crash at the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, I think it was. Or it was the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. That's when it was. I lost 98% of my net worth in 1 month. It was a very hard lesson. And pretty much from 2018 up until 2020, every single month I put 30% of my paycheck into Ethereum. And then I discovered Axie Infinity, and that kind of got me into NFTs. And then obviously Ethereum started pumping again. So like this 2 years of accumulation period, like finally paid off. So I had some liquidity for once, which was incredible. I remember at the time, like probably about like a year and a half ago, I was like, man, if I only had like $10,000 in my bank account, I'd be like so happy, you know, or 20,000, I'd be like so happy. And it's just crazy how, yeah, just looking back on that, I was like, damn.
So can I ask like why you changed the Ethereum instead of Bitcoin then?
Because Bitcoin broke my heart, man. That's why.
what the first collapse got you?
The first collapse, yeah. I mean, It was, and also at the time, I mean, the whole thing was, you know, Ethereum was like $80 or $90. Bitcoin was, you know, still in the 1,000. So my idea was like, well, you know, if Ethereum can get to where Bitcoin is, and if I'm accumulating $80 is like nothing, right? I can get way more Ethereum. You know, if like once a month I can get like, I don't know, like you know, two to 5 Ethereum for a 2-year accumulation period. It's quite a good deal, you know, versus trying to get one whole Bitcoin at the time.
It is funny how people do think in that way, especially when they first get into crypto, or like it's not the market, it's the price really. So the cheapest price, and you see it with Dogecoin and a lot of things where like, oh, if this gets to Bitcoin's 60,000 or whatever it is.
It's always, I mean, everything is price driven in the space. I mean, you know, but I mean, I'm very like intense with my research on these kinds of things, and I was so sure. I was like, you know, Ethereum's going to blow up. It's going to be more than $300 one day. You know, this is me like a year and a half ago. Like, I just better keep accumulating it and just keep getting into it. And then I suppose the segue from crypto into NFTs was I found out about Axie Infinity, and it was like, cool, I can play a game and earn a token, and I can employ people to play this game for me as well, and I can take a small percentage each month, you know, and that was extremely lucrative for about 8 months for me. And yeah, I was just on OpenSea one day, scrolling through things that were recently listed. And one of the projects that came up were CyberKongz, but it was like you could only purchase them within 2 days. So I left it and I was like, all right, well, I'll check back on this in 2 days. Anyway, so 4 days passed. And I was like, I went back onto it, and I went back and I just thought like, maybe I should just buy like 1 or 2 of these, you know, like, I don't know what they're going to be like. They look pretty cool. They seem pretty cool. So let me just get one. So I ended up buying, I think, 6 for like 0.06. You know, my gas was more expensive than than my Genesis Kongs were. I remember, and then my girlfriend came up and she's like, "Oh, why don't you just buy the whole floor of something? Like, just get one trait and just buy every single one of one trait." So I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea." So I ended up buying almost all the headbands, Genesis Kongs, and at the time I think it ended up costing me about like, I don't know, it was like $1,000 or something, which at the time was, you know, it was 60% of my net worth, which was crazy. Yeah, and then jumped to the Discord, and the rest has kind of been history from then there. Yeah.
Do you thank her every day for that suggestion to go buy the trait of the headbands?
I almost didn't. The thing that is just like crazy is that I almost just didn't even buy one. You know, if it was today's market conditions, right? And I'd left it for 2 days after it was released, I would never have bought one. I would never have gotten one, right? But it happened so quick, because I remember the next day it was, Kongs were pumping. It was like 1F. And I remember just thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to make like 10F. I'm going to be so rich. Looking back on it, it's just like, man, yeah, thank God everything was on a hardware wallet, you know.
How did all of that kind of translate into eventually like working for CyberKongz? I mean, you purchased them on OpenSea, you joined the Discord, and then kind of like you become a council member. How does that evolve? And then for people that don't know, what is your role on the council?
Let me get into first how I got here. So I mean, I think I started off as a mod. There were no mods at all in the server, and things just got so out of hand because Kongs blew up. You know, it was like 3th floor. It was not manageable. And I think I woke up to this. I had gone to sleep and the floor was 0.1. Woke up to about a 3th floor, and I was all of a sudden assigned to be a mod. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that didn't, that happened quick. And then, it just kind of went, just kind of offered my services. At the time, I was studying a full stack development course, a web development course. And I was like, if you guys need help with anything, let me know. I can help. I've worked with people for 10 years of my life, so I know how I know how to handle people and how to deal with people, especially clients, front facing. I was in hospitality for 10 years before that. So, what I do is I do a lot of everything. I helped build the viewer that you see on OpenSea. I help with website maintenance currently. Obviously, help with strategic decisions internally. At the moment, I'm helping more on the partnership and marketing front. I'm just kind of everywhere, wherever we need help, or wherever I can see this is where we need to really improve on, or where we need to push this fast or the moment.
Do you still have a job in real life, or are you devoted to Web3 now?
Oh, I still have a job in real life. Do I do anything? That's another question. No. So I do, but it finishes at the end of next month. Oh yeah, that's actually very soon. At the end of next month. I already tried to quit in December last year. I tried to quit in August last year. I tried to quit in July last year. But this is kind of the person I am. If I make a commitment to something, I'm going to make sure that I see it all the way through. And this is just in terms of my current job. I have commitments to clients, etc. It's only 2 days a week, so it's not like a full-time job. But this is why I agreed to kind of extend my real life job. But at the end of next month, it's full-time Web3 and more so full-time Kongz. So,
how much does your work kind of in real life and from the hospitality sector translate to Web3 and CyberKongz? Are there many overlaps, or has it been like a completely unique experience?
I think in terms of dealing with people, it's, I think anyone working in retail, anyone working in hospitality, anyone working with, just people on a daily basis. You learn how to navigate people and how to not escalate situations. Right. So it's really helped in the sense, that I can mediate things a lot better. And if someone comes at me emotionally or is, has, like if someone is throwing shade at me or whatever you want to call it, I will very seldomly react emotionally towards that. And that's definitely Hospo has helped a lot with that. But yeah, outside of people skills, I mean, it's a whole different ball game, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Sebs, you talked about earlier how you're buying CyberKongz, and then at some point you had like 10 ETH worth amount or something along those lines. But I'm curious to understand like why, after you hit those milestones and ETH price, why you stayed and stuck with Kongz then.
Oh man, it's just like, if you look back to this time last year, absolutely no one was doing the things that Kongz was doing, right? And everyone was just doing OpenSea storefront contracts. It just wasn't, anything out there that was exciting or new or changed, and that's why I stuck with it, because I was like, what's being built here? And the things that are going to happen and the things that are happening now are just incredible. It was, I think it was, when was it? In about April last year when we released the Banana token. And soon after that, I was just like, damn, like I'm working with some of the best people in the space, at the time. It was just really an incredible experience for me. Also, I just finished studying my development course, and I've always wanted to be in Web3, and I was like, well, Kongz is my in, and Kongz is probably one of the best internships that I'm ever going to have, best hands-on experience I'm ever going to have, So, yeah. And then obviously the community, like that was what kind of drew me in, and what, as much as, the technological side of things is what drew me in, and the community is really what's made me stay over the last year. I've made connections with people in Discord that I've never met in my life before, but I'm like, some of these people are like the closest people that I know at the moment, which is crazy. But yeah.
We were just on that Twitter space the other day, and you could feel it. We were speaking online, but you can tell how strong everyone is in the community here, and how we're all like brothers. I think it was Kongz said that like he literally feels like everyone's brothers and sisters here. So I'm curious why you think that has developed in the Kongz community. How did we get so close knit, and what led to that?
Like there's no. How do I say this? I had an analogy and it just
there's no one thing.
It completely disappeared out of my brain. No, yeah. So there, there's it's in this sense it's the same thing as hospitality, right? Working in a kitchen, you go through so many states or mental states and states of being, right? So in a kitchen, it's extremely high stress. You have these moments of high, you have these low moments, you have moments where you're extremely euphoric and then you're extremely depressed. It's like, yeah. And that is the NFT space, right? And I think because so many people in the community have had this collective experience together in the community, these are the kind of things that bond people, right? So, and if anything, being able to go through these experiences with people who are not direct family, or you don't know these people in real life, I think it makes it even more of a bonding experience, because if lost when ETH crashed from 4K down to 2K, everyone was feeling that emotional dread, right? And everyone knew everyone else was feeling it. It's like, you're in this together, and that really solidifies bonds,
Yeah, that's a great point, because I can't go speak to my high school friends and have them understand the stress and pressure sometimes that you feel in the NFT and crypto space, but definitely form some strong friendships here. And actually, another question that follows that is, do you think that some of these new projects that are launching, and I won't name any names, but that launch straight off a hype, do they kind of miss out on some of that organic bonding and the group, or do you like when you first start the Discord and everyone's building those relationships, do you think they might miss out on that at all, or?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never built a project where that's what it's been, right? I've never had this straight off the bat hype from day one kind of project. It's always been hard work and then project. But with that said, I mean, I've seen a lot of these projects where they are coming off, hype cycle, or they're just being hyped, and the community does stick, or the community goes to form other communities. It's I think, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
it depends
even like
on the market conditions.
To rephrase that, where maybe Kongz got an advantage because when they started, there was no expectation really of what it is today. It was more just an organic kind of growth and community. So,
yeah, that's true, and I think that's something that people don't take into consideration actually when new projects are launching, is that there's so much expectation now. I mean, we feel it internally, right? As the council, we feel there's like this pressure to deliver even more so, right? And to keep up with what's happening in the space and what's happening all around. So I can just imagine, and we are somewhat established. I mean, we are established, already. So I can just imagine how it feels for new projects coming out and having to hit that delivery, right? But yeah, a lot of these projects, I really hope they do succeed. I don't want anything bad for any of these kind of projects, but like realistically, I think it's extremely risky to be betting on projects that don't have a track record or haven't delivered anything, or these are the kind of things. Personally, maybe I'm a boomer in that regard, but yeah, I mean, if you have the willpower to get in and to get out as quick as possible, then do it. But if you're here for another 5 years, 10 years, you don't know what the space is going to look like then. So you want to be backing kind of projects that have a long-term vision, right? So,
Sebs, I mean, the council has an extensive background of like making good decisions and creating like influential innovations on the space. But like, how does the decision-making process work within the council? Is it like one person suggests an idea and then like you conclusively agree on the proposal, or is it kind of just like a brainstorming session until you've realised it based on market sentiment? But like, what's the overall process? Like, for example, we're playing Kollect. How did that originate, and then how did it come to fruition? Like, how does it work with within the Council of Kongz?
Yeah. So I think, the way it works, the initial idea is brought forward, and then iterated upon. Everyone gives their input. With playing Kollect, I think what happened was Coco actually came to Ul with this idea, like, can we do this? Before coming to the council with it, and then it was just it kind of just happened overnight. Woke up the one day and it's like, guys, we're gonna do this crazy thing. It's gonna be completely on chain, and I was just thinking like, oh my god, the fucking work. Involved. But
did
you think it was a risk at the time? Like, were you hesitant towards how successful it could be? Because it seemed like
if I can be completely honest, I have 100% faith in almost every single decision or idea that is brought forward internally. Because I think a majority of the ideas that are happening are brilliant, and even the ones that sometimes aren't, they get molded to be these ideas that that become extremely incredible, right? But playing Kollect, it was a massive undertaking, and like I props 100% to everyone who worked so hard on that, because the turnaround time, I think it was December when the idea was hatched, November, December. And then, it was end of Feb, beginning of March when it was out. So it was, it was always supposed to be this thing where it's like, this is the basis for what's still to come, right? Because we can go into hiding for a year and we can build absolutely everything we want to build, but that's not realistic. So, it's not realistic with the current market sentiment, right? But, so as playing collectors now, it really is a basis for what's to come, which makes me really excited.
Was there Sorry, I was just going to ask, when Playing Collect was originated and that was the avenue Kongz wanted to go down, just why Playing Collect? Why that kind of avenue? Why the gaming aspect of blockchain?
We 100% is we're always trying to drive so much value to the assets in an organic way, in a way that is sustainable. And, at the time, it was really the success of Vox was hanging on the sandbox, and to have it on, as something that relied on the sandbox, is a major risk from our side. Because we have no control. We have no control over Sandbox. We have no control over their success. And for us to put our success on that, it just didn't. That's not sustainable. Not saying anything, but I'm saying, in case of anything, you always want to make sure that we can stand alone, right? So what Play and Collect enabled us to do was to make sure that Vox have their own path and they're not reliant on anything. And the same with babies, that they're not reliant on any outside factors, any outside projects, because we can keep building Play and Collect for the next 5 to 10 years. We can build it for 20 years and it will always have the integration in the CyberKongz community. So as much as it was a risk, I think it was a well-calculated risk that's paid off more or less, or is starting to pay off.
Is that also one of the reasons why it just came out this past week that Kongz Tank is coming back, which has, two different size funds, the major and the minor, where you get 50 ETH for the major and then 20 ETH for the minors if you meet the requirements. So that's a big sum of money there. And is that also a reason why, so they can help develop and not be so reliant on other outside forces like Sandbox?
Yeah, I absolutely. I think the most important thing with Kongz Tank, and let me just the idea of it coming back is we really want to enable the community and reward people who are building Kongz, right? The first Kongz Tank was, we're going to, help bootstrap projects or kickstart projects. But this one, we really want to make sure that the value is 100% seen in Kongz. So, yeah, that's why the rewards are pretty big, because, we have big expectations.
Can it be, does it have to be inside the Kongz community, or can someone outside submit? So anyone can submit as long as they're building on the requirements, right? For example, the VX has to be used, for example. Obviously, even better if you're utilizing every part of the ecosystem. And I think it's really important. And I think it's where we made a few mistakes on the first one, was not making sure that it was majority Kongz kind of driven, if you know what I mean. Yeah, because a few of the projects, they integrated Kongz, but it was also some other communities, which, it still works out and it's still supportive, but I can definitely see more of the sole focus on Kongz, on this Kongz Tank.
Sebs, just tracking back to Play and Collect, personally, I really like it. The community's received it well, and there's multiple parameters of reflection on how successful something's been. But if you look at the price of Kongz, and you can take external parameters like macroeconomics and market sentiment, But why do you think the price has kind of decreased based on the release of Play and Collect? Do you think it's because of Play and Collect, or do you think it's due to wider macro reasons?
I think, I don't think the price has dropped because of Play and Collect per se. Actually, I don't think the price has dropped at all due to Play and Collect. I really think that it's just the current market conditions and just where we are right now. For example, everyone is only focused at the moment on, making money. Whereas a year ago, the meta, I guess, or the market sentiment was innovation, technology, projects pushing the space. And this year it's moved more onto, marketing, floor prices, etc., etc. So I think we've acknowledged that, and we've begun kind of putting in play the things that we need to make sure that we're not left behind by the current sentiment, because it's not really something you can predict. So
do you think it's a shame and kind of a detriment to the space that current sentiment? Utility is basically only perceived as anything that can increase the floor price, not in terms of actual utility. Do you think that's going to be a detriment to the space long term? Or do you think that's something where projects can actually flourish by providing something to be discovered at a later date?
I think, look, I think it's extremely important to have correct marketing. I think, this is clearly what the current market sentiment has shown us, But I think also you have to have substance, right? So, people can have these major kind of war chests, but, if they're incapable of deploying the funds correctly or doing anything, for example, Kongz is built on less than $4 million, right? So I really hope it is not to the detriment of the space, because if you see a major collapse across the board, it negatively affects everyone, right? So, I think, also at the moment we have so many new people coming in that are just, completely euphoric about prices. It really reminds me a lot of, of 2017, just with, the market sentiment and
How would your lessons from 2017 kind of translate to, I don't want to say the bubble, but kind of the euphoria and jubilation that everyone's experiencing now? Is there a strategy that you take personally, or that you'd advise to people experiencing that euphoria right now?
The greatest thing, and it's the old saying, whereas the market will be irrational for longer than you can stay solvent, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so true, because your idea of what should be happening based off X, Y, and Z, if the market doesn't agree with that, well, the market doesn't care. So you need to make sure that, and what I do is I always make sure I position myself in such a way that I have liquidity, so that if we see a market collapse tomorrow, I'm not in that same space as I was in 2017 when I lost like 98% of my net worth, for example, right? The only thing to do, because, also I don't think people have really sat through an NFT bear market, right? Where you have zero liquidity, zero sales for like weeks. So I think if that starts to happen, then you'll probably see mass panic. And if you have assets that are illiquid, then it's really gonna affect you negatively, like from a mental point of view, not just a financial point of view, because it will always be this: I should have sold. And this feeling of like, I should have sold, you need to sell when there's liquidity. That's what it is. You need to, this is the kind of sentiment that I carry. So it's worked for me thus far, maybe I played a bit safe. I missed out on a lot of things. I could have been way richer or made way more money than I made. But like, at the end of the day, man, it's like, I don't want to be a professional trader. I just want to be liquid, right?
Yeah, definitely. I remember you saying at the start of this podcast that a lot of your portfolio was in Kongz, but over the past year and 1 month since Kongz launched, have you kind of diversified into other NFT projects? Like, are there any other projects you're bullish on aside from Kongz or have big holdings in?
See, I did. I did have big holdings. I had huge holdings in a lot of the projects that pumped in September, October, November last year. But I exited because that was always my strategy. My strategy was always exit when you have liquidity, or when the liquidity is there, take it, because you don't know where it's going to be. You know, for example, I was selling groupies above 1.5 to 2 ETH. I was selling subducts, at 4, 5 ETH, and I, just so many projects that I was so big into. I just ended up closing positions, and maybe I'm biased, but I came back and I ended up buying about 45 boxes. When they were sitting at 2 ETH, 2 to 3 ETH. But it's my conviction. I think if you can't hold the asset that you're pushing, and there's no point in you trying to continue developing it. You need to show conviction in your own projects.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, you have so much conviction in Kongz, but what do you kind of see for the long-term vision going forward? Like, what do you think the possibilities are for Kongz?
In an ideal world. I mean, look, I'm extremely realistic with what we need to do to continue improving. I can 100% see where we need to improve on. We've already started improving in these areas. I mean, just if I think short term, medium term, long term, in the short term, make sure we hit up that marketing side of things, get that down. We've already taken the actions. We have such a great community initiative now as well to assist that side. So I think we're going to be pretty secure in that in the short term to medium term. Medium term as well, continued development on Play and Kollect with a whole bunch of additional things. I put proposals forward to the council in this last week, which I really am pushing for, because I think they could just take Play and Kollect to like the next level. Also, we're working on some cool merchandise as well, so that's really cool for the medium term. And long term is I think for me personally, I really want to see Kongz become this thing that is truly decentralized and that's truly Web3. That you have communities doing the marketing, you have parts of the community developing, you have parts, and everyone in the community is involved in kind of bettering Kongz, right? And I'm not saying that as a way to cop out or anything, but my true vision, at least for Kongz, and I think it's the sentiment for a lot of the guys internally, is that we want Kongz to be as true to Web3 and as true to decentralization as possible. So that's why we do things differently and we take a different approach to certain things, is because we have this long-term vision where we really want it to be something that is, like I said, as true to Web3 and as true to decentralization as possible. So
and we see with the community initiative to take on some more of the content creation, some of the marketing efforts, but how do you see that long term? Do you see possibly some of the community members building on top of the Kongz ecosystem, where maybe they end up somehow generating some source of revenue? It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but a sustainable revenue source where they're essentially a arm of the Kongz in a decentralized way. Is that how you kind of picture it? I'm curious how you ultimately see this decentralization in the end game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good question.
It's definitely fluid because every day is different, but
I mean, again, I can't see what decentralization will look like in the next 2 to 3 years, or the ideas or the technologies that will be out to aid in that. But yeah, I can imagine 100%. It completely, it's almost like a way that I suppose a tribe can work, right? You have everyone doing their part for the betterment or to better the tribe. This is really, I mean, that's a very basic way of thinking about it, but I think with true decentralization, that's really what it is that if you have people who are wanting to commit to it, wanting to make it better, wanting to have something, to show something and to say, I helped build that, that is, I mean, very idealistic. But I think that is like decentralization in its truest form. There's no central head of anything. It's just really completely community run. So
yeah, and I've seen that, and I've even put it on my Twitter before. Like before we had that community initiative to help out, like it's fun in the Kongz community, but there's something different with actually helping build and feeling a part of that team where everyone believes in the brand. We believe what the vision is, and you're just building. And I'll work my Web 2 job, and then after work, I'll go spend some time with the Kongz building. And it's way more fun. No one gets paid. We just all have fun doing it. So
yeah, I mean, and like, yeah, from me personally, I'm so grateful. I love the community initiative that's happening with Kongluminati. And I love, the Kongz Fight Club and just how much love and how much effort has been put into that, I mean, like, I think it's incredible because, I mean, there's only so much people can do, right? So if you have this work being outsourced, or you have people who are as passionate as, you are working on it, it's just really like something incredible. So yeah, I hope to see more. And that's really why we're pushing this Kongz Tank for Play and Collect. Because we want people to, obviously money is a great motivator, but we really want people to push and to develop Play and Collect and to do things. I mean, like for example, Upper with this bot, like it's amazing, incredible, right? I mean, he's not part of the council or internal team. He's just a crazy developer, right? Who I love working with because he's just so passionate, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
So Sebs, you touched on marketing earlier, and I mean there's very obvious comparisons or other projects in the space that have pushed marketing pretty hard, whether it's celebrity endorsement or things in the Web 2 world. Do you think that Kongz have missed the boat by going for organic marketing? Because it's one of the, I'm not going to say complaints from the community, but something that the community touch upon sometimes is like, oh, we want more marketing. Do you feel like a boat's been missed, or do you feel like there's an opportunity there to utilize upon it now?
No, I think we, I think the space moved quicker in that regard than what we were expecting. I think we could have 100%, and this is taking accountability now. I think we could have implemented a lot of things way sooner, but we are currently doing that now. I really wish organic marketing or organic growth was the only way to go, but it's not. So, and this is like definitely something we've really highlighted internally. And we've obviously listened to the community, and we listened to like almost every proposal. And yeah, I think, we get a general idea of where everyone's at, because we want people to be proud of being in Kongz, to make sure that their voices are heard, right? So, and I think this is just an example of how much we value the community and their inputs, is we were like, yeah, you guys are right. We need to up our game on that, and we've put quite a sizable budget towards that, especially with the real life activations, with the merchandise coming up, the other things that I can't speak about that are coming up. But like these are all the things that will be, I think once they fall into place, everyone will be like, damn,
Is it kind of an arduous task marketing an NFT project though? Because you're taking like strategies and tactics from the Web 2 world in terms of like corporate branding and trying to implement it to completely infant industry, or is it kind of you just trial and error it and see what happens and how you want to take the narrative of your brand going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we're going to stay true to what Kongz are. We're not going to, do the paid shield route, or we're not going to do the, if people are interested or if people are down with getting into Kongz and they love Kongz and, they happen to be famous as well, then like, that's great. Like, that's really something we want to push. But, in terms of doing, it's different. Absolutely. I think everything moves a lot faster. But yeah, we've, like I've said, I think in the Discord, etc. We reached out to professionals in the space who really understand these flows and things a lot better than us. And yeah, I'm hoping it'll be a good marriage because it's generally people who are coming from a traditional sense in marketing, and we're gonna try and infuse that with give a new take, a Web3 kind of take on it. We're hoping that it kicks off and plays out. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things planned. I don't want to say too much either.
Do you think
Al leaked a lot, on his podcast, so I feel like you have to leak one thing. So
Al leaked a lot on his podcast.
he leaked a few things, aka the new collection would be minted through Play and Kollect, and then some other hints. But yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about the leak.
Yeah. Okay.
Sebs, do you think that not having that war chest is a detriment or kind of like hurting us in the long run, or do you think we don't need that? We can just keep building and do it the way it's been done.
I don't know. I think we need a war chest. we need to up our war chest 100%. I'm extremely financially minded in the sense where I understand that I'm not blind to the fact that is the thing. I think it has its setbacks. For example, we can't drop $2 million of marketing. For example, we can't hire devs at the cost price of, 5 to 10 million a year, for like an army of devs. But I think with we've proven with the little resources that we have, we're very capable of producing an extremely well thought out, well coordinated, well run project. And it really makes me believe that when the time comes, when we do a raise, or fill up the war chest again to really push Kongz even further, that it really won't be something that's difficult to do.
So Sebs, do you wish Kongz had kind of the budget that some of these other projects that have launched like since post-November had, in terms of you've proved yourself, if anyone deserves the kind of funds that some projects have had, it's probably Kongz, and the capabilities that some of the most intelligent minds which Kongz possess could do with those funds? Or do you just like the challenge and like working how it is at the moment?
I like working smart, not hard. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, obviously, if I would love it for Kongz to have a war chest of 50 million, 100 million, right? That's a no-brainer. And it's just there'd be so much more that could be done. And yeah, I personally think that we need to push for that raise, however it may be it through a new collection or through VC or through etc. But until that time, it has to make sense, right? For example, if we do a new collection, or when we do a new collection, it has to make sense to the ecosystem, right? Or if we do funding with a VC, this has to be a VC that aligns with our vision, otherwise it's what's the use, right? I think we're a bit stubborn in that sense, not in a bad way, but we've kept the same ethos from day one, and I don't think that's ever going to change. we're just going to make it better, and we're just going to keep boosting it with, the additional marketing, the additional, innovations that are coming out, all these other things that we have planned. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, one thing I've noticed is that the in real life activation of Kongz through events, whether it's NFT LA, NFT NYC, I know you're speaking at MetAms. I mean, how important is having an in real life presence from Web3 kind of translated to the real world and representing the Kongz brand there?
Oh, that's a question for Inverted. But I mean, from what I saw, that the party in LA looked incredible. Like such props to everyone involved for setting that up. And I think just all the activations, I was having a chat with Henry the other day, and he's like, have you been to a Kongz activation in real life yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't. Obviously, I'm in Europe, right? Like, I haven't. So he's like, man, it's like it changes the way you look at Kongz completely. It's like a whole other experience. Like, it's definitely something like every Kongz holder has to do. And, Henry's super enthusiastic when he speaks. So I can just imagine him in real life, right? But yeah, it's just apparently, a whole different energy, whole different side, and just a whole different thing. Because I think then you really do feel like, you're part of a community when you go there and you meet people that you speak to on Discord, maybe 20 hours to 30 hours a week minimum. You meet them in real life, right? I mean, it's so important. it's so important, especially for the community, right? And there's a lot of emphasis on our real life events. I'm super excited for Amsterdam event because it's gonna be so cool. I have so many cool ideas for that. But
will you be at NFT NYC?
I will be at NFT NYC 1 week later.
1 week later?
Yeah. So Met Amsterdam is from the 14th till the 17th of June. And then NFT NYC is the next week.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you'll be there for the events, but it's a week after. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's going to be 2 weeks of Kongz IRL. I'm so excited.
So you're in the Netherlands. Has NFTs and crypto caught on over there? Is it?
It's slowly, but the thing that I love about the Netherlands and Amsterdam in particular is the approach to NFTs, right? Whenever I've gone to an event here or whenever I've gone to a conference, there are not many here. I think Met Amsterdam is the first one. So that's quite exciting that we're headlining speakers there. But with all of these things, it's all from an approach that is, what is the innovation? What is your project doing that's pushing the space? Because Amsterdam is pretty much in the last few years become this like tech hub. It's insane how much it's grown. And just how many cool startups there are here that are really pushing, the Web 2 space and even the Web 3 space. There's so many incredible projects based here locally that really just blow my mind. And they fly under the radar because they're 100%, focused on the innovation, 100% focused on how do we drive the space, 100% focused on how do we make sure what we're doing is different. Right, and I think it's a complete different mindset, and I haven't been to North America, but I really think it is a complete different mindset to the space in North America right now. So I think, I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't been, so I guess I will see. But that's how it feels. I feel like a majority of the NFT space is North American based right now.
Yeah, that's definitely how it feels, but it definitely seems like it's spreading all over. Yeah. And the more and more you hear it, and some of your family friends and members are bringing it up, and then
yeah, sure.
That's one of the signs of the top. But honestly, we haven't gotten it yet, and who knows when that will happen.
Sebs, are you optimistic? Or sorry, I was just going to say, are you optimistic or pessimistic for the future of NFTs? kind of in the short run based on price action? Obviously, I assume you're very optimistic based on working and building within Web3. But how do you think kind of like, because Nate was on the podcast last week and he kind of spoke about current sentiment with NFTs and potential for a lot of projects potentially failing or not making it. I mean, what's your kind of general take on it going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it goes back to this thing, projects with strong communities that have strong substance. That's what's going to outlast, right? Because we can't be in this bull market, this like insane price action forever, I took a day off yesterday because I had to like recalibrate my brain. But, it's not gonna, it's not sustainable. You have new people coming in. New people aren't going to be dropping $1,000 for an NFT, right? No, not the majority of new people, at least. They have better avenues. They can buy $1,000 of Doge. They could buy $1,000 worth of, Ethereum, right? And that will feel safer to them because when it pumps, they can sell off a little bit. They can make a profit, So for the small person coming into the space, and I think a lot of people in NFTs tend to forget that 0.5 ETH is a lot of money for like 90% of the world, if not 99% of the world. So for mass adoption, we're not even close to that. And, with mass currently, it's, it's a small amount of people in comparison to the rest of the world, right? I'm not saying it's not a money-making opportunity now, because it is. But when you start getting those, when it starts getting more diluted, when you have more people coming in, I really think that there has to be something, that kind of like breaks the camel's back. Just we need like this bear market, before anything else happens, just to bring fresh people in, because at the time, I'm very pessimistic. I'm very, optimistic on the future of NFTs, especially the technological side, especially the projects, like I said, again, with substance. But yeah, I mean, everything, if we see a major bear market, everything's price is going to suffer. But yeah, what's going to really set the bar and really change things is those projects that keep building regardless of that, when the hype is gone, who's going to carry on building? And these are the way people need to really pick their long-term plays. I believe personally, it might take you longer to make money, but I mean, yeah, I'm not watching the price of things every single day. So that's just my take on things personally.
Yeah, I think that's part of the comfort of being CyberKongz and knowing your community's going to actively build even in that bear market time. But before we wrap this up, as we're approaching, I think, about an hour or so, I wanted to ask a lighthearted question. It might be even selfish because not many people might know this, but you and Pennybags have some history. and I'm very curious because you guys have had this kind of banter that I haven't seen in the space. Can you give some history on how you and Pennybags came to just your friendship?
Yeah, I mean, look, but yeah. I guess we just started going at each other. It was just totally random. I don't even know how it started, to be completely honest. The crazy thing is, like, Penny, like we haven't, like, I mean, we're both extremely busy. He's got projects he's working on. I'm working on Kongz. Like, we speak now and then, but like, oh man, it's one of the people that like I have so much trust for in the space, and someone I've never even met. Like he asked to lend money from me the other day, and it was just so crazy to me, thinking like, yeah, I was fine to do it, like no questions asked, Yeah. Just like complete trust, and I never doubted it. And it's really cool because this is the thing about NFTs, and this is what I love about it, is that you meet people in the space that are just so genuine, and they're just like they're totally anonymous. They could just rug and like go off and do their thing, and like I've met a lot of people like that, especially obviously through Kongz, but even in other communities, right? Like I think there are, just going back to the point of like which communities are continuously building regardless of the hype or regardless of their floor price. There are so many, like Kongz definitely is one, but I think it's worth noting that there are so many other communities out there that continue to build regardless of what's happening on their floor price, right? And I'm not gonna shill other communities or my bags or anything like that, but there really is some really cool other communities out there, and I'd like really, my goal one day would be just like get all the communities, just like combine them, all these ones that are just building continuously regardless of the floor price, regardless of the price action, regardless of market sentiment. They're staying true to their vision and they're just continuing building. That would be incredible. You put a bunch of like-minded people like that together, and like you could really like change a lot of things, not just in NFTs but just in the world.
Yeah, we were talking about groupies earlier, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Jan and his team over there. It's very organic and very Web3, I think, and they're doing a great job building over there. So I'll give them a quick shout out. But heading to the rapid fire segment, we just like to ask some short questions, get to know you a little bit better. And the first one is, what's your favorite CyberKongz NFT? It could be any collection.
What's my favorite CyberKongz NFT?
That you personally don't own.
That I don't own.
Yeah, you're not allowed to own it.
It's actually, I know exactly which one it is. It's the Raiden Fox that Decadent from DistoPunks owns, the founder of DistoPunks. He sniped it from me. He sniped it from me 2 seconds before I was going to buy it. It's my favorite fucking Fox. Yeah. Like, it's so nice. If you haven't seen it, definitely he even renamed it Raiden. It's really just a Tron skin Fox, but it's so clean. And when I was developing the viewer, it was the one Vox that I always did tests on for the dark fur and for the emissive glow. So it's like it's really got like a personal connection, but I don't own it. So that's my favorite.
You fell in love with it, and someone else has it.
Incredible, yeah, pretty much, yeah. Story of my life, man.
Yeah. Okay, next question is who's your favorite follow on Twitter?
My favorite follower.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I have a few. I mean, I'm going to obviously say Pennybags because he just shit posts all day.
He doesn't like guac, I think it is, or avocados.
Yeah, so. He doesn't like avocados now. Apparently, I don't know.
We're gonna have to get Pennybags. We're gonna have to get him on the podcast and ask him about that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have a lot. I followed a lot of people recently to kind of recalibrate. I always like changing my perception of the space, and I think who you follow can really change your perception of the NFT space. Yeah. So,
and okay, next question is number one lesson you've learned in the NFT/crypto space.
Liquidity doesn't last forever.
Perfect.
That's definitely that's the most important thing I've learned in the space.
Hey, it doesn't last more than one day for me. Yeah. So that's definitely true.
If you keep it as ETH, you always spend it.
Exactly.
Okay, and final question: your favorite emoji to use in Discord?
Oh, have you seen that duck gun one? That like the duck holding the gun.
Oh yeah.
I kind of go through phases. So it's the duck with the pistol, and also the Peepo scared one, where his eyes are like going crazy. And then for a while it was the Cato, like the blushing cat. I think I overused that so much in the CyberKongz Discord that one of the mods removed it as an emoji.
Do a leap, but Kongz will know that reference.
Pretty much. I was shadow banned because I was like trying to search for it, and I was like, it's gone. Yeah. I got it back though, but I don't use it as much, so
Yeah, that's brilliant. We've just hit the hour mark, so I just wanted to say thank you, Sebs. I mean, personally speaking, I know a lot of the Kongz think it too. Very thankful for your kindness and everything you do for Kongz, and we appreciate you coming on the podcast also. I found it very insightful. It was interesting to see how the council works, and I'm interested to see what's to come in the future.
Yeah, and also, thanks guys for having me. Yeah. And really, I cannot express how grateful I am for this community, and just, everyone, from people building to, people tagging me and random things to like just everything. I think I'm so grateful for it. Like I can't even put into words right now. So
well, thank you for all your work, Sebs. We really appreciate it.
No worries, guys.
Yeah.
I try.
Thanks, Seb.
Thank you.